All right, today we are diving into a topic that is absolutely crucial for every single one of us, blood circulation. We're going to break down how 14 very specific foods can give your body's entire system a major boost. Let's get right into it.
So let me just start by asking you something. Do your hands and feet often feel like little blocks of ice, even when the room isn't that cold? Or maybe you get that weird pins and needles sensation out of nowhere. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone, and it might just be your circulation trying to tell you something.
You know, these feelings, that numbness, the tingling, that constant cold in your fingers and toes, they are the classic signs of poor circulation. It's basically your body sending up a flare, signaling that it's having a tough time getting all that good stuff, oxygen and nutrients to every little corner. But here's the amazing part. What you put on your plate can make a huge difference.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about unlocking the flow with a powerhouse molecule called nitric oxide. Then we'll look at foods that actually protect the highways your blood travels on. After that, we'll get into some natural stimulants, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with a simple action plan you can start using right away.
Okay, let's jump right into section 1. We have to talk about the hero of our story, this molecule called nitric oxide. Seriously, once you understand this, you'll see exactly how so many of these amazing foods work their magic.
So what is this stuff? Well, nitric oxide is a gas molecule that your own body produces. Its number one job is to be a vasodilator. Now, that's just a fancy word for something that tells your blood vessels to chill out, relax, and widen. And when they widen, boom, more blood can flow through, and it even helps lower blood pressure.
And the way it works is just so cool and simple. First, you eat foods that have the right building blocks. Then your body takes those compounds and converts them into nitric oxide. And finally, that little gas molecule sends a signal to your arteries telling them to open up, which boosts your blood flow. It's such a smart, natural system.
So which foods are the real superstars for getting this process going? Let's meet our nitric oxide all-stars. We've got garlic, turmeric, beets, walnuts, and berries. Let's take a quick look at how each one pulls it off.
Let's start with beets. These things are absolute powerhouses because they are just loaded with something called dietary nitrates. Your body has a super direct, one-way ticket to turn those nitrates straight into nitric oxide. That makes beets one of the most efficient ways to get that blood flowing. It's no wonder so many athletes drink beet juice.
Next up, let's talk about garlic and turmeric. Now, these two are a little different. Instead of just providing the raw materials, they act more like coaches. A compound in garlic and one called curcumin in turmeric actually wake up the enzymes in your body that are in charge of making nitric oxide. So they're basically hitting the on switch for your body's own little factory.
And hey, don't just take my word for it when it comes to walnuts. The science backs this up. A study in the Journal of Nutrition literally found that eating walnuts on the regular actively boosts nitric oxide production, and that leads to better blood flow. So that handful of walnuts, it's doing way more than just curbing your hunger. And rounding out this all-star team, we have berries. You know those gorgeous deep colors in blueberries and strawberries? Well, that comes from these amazing antioxidants called anthocyanins. These guys do double duty. They protect your blood vessels from damage, and they help increase nitric oxide levels, helping those arteries relax.
Okay, let's move on to our second section. Because it's not enough to just open up the flow, you've also got to make sure the pathways, your blood vessels, are strong, flexible, and clear. It's all about protecting those pathways.
And there are two main ways we do that. First, we've got omega-3 fatty acids. Think of them as making your blood vessels more flexible and less likely to get stiff and hard. Then you've got antioxidants. These guys are like the security detail, stopping the bad cholesterol from oxidizing and building up into dangerous plaque.
So who are these protectors? Well, salmon is at the top of the list for those amazing omega-3s. Then we've got a whole crew of antioxidant heroes. Pomegranate and cinnamon are fantastic at fighting off damage. Tomatoes bring in a special antioxidant called lycopene. And of course, leafy greens like spinach give you antioxidants plus iron, which you absolutely need for healthy red blood cells.
All right, on to our third group of foods. These are the ones that don't just help the system along. They give your circulation a direct kickstart. Think of them as natural stimulants.
In this group, we're talking about cayenne pepper, raw onions, ginger, and citrus fruits. Each one has a really unique way of getting your blood moving a little faster.
Now, this is what's so cool about cayenne and ginger. The capsaicin in cayenne, that's what makes it spicy, and compounds in ginger,
They don't wait around for some complicated process. They send a direct signal to your blood vessels to dilate, to open up, giving you a much more immediate warming and circulation-boosting effect. This is why they feel so good when you're cold.
And we can't leave out onions and citrus fruits. Onions bring protective sulfur compounds to the table, and citrus fruits, like oranges, are just packed with vitamin C and folic acid. Both of those are totally essential for building healthy red blood cells, which are the little taxis that carry oxygen all through your body. Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now for the most important part. Section 4. Let's put this all together into a really simple circulation action plan. This is so key. Food is an incredibly powerful piece of the puzzle, but it is just one piece. To get the best results, you've got to look at the whole picture. So yeah, start weaving these 14 foods into your meals, but don't forget the other game changers. Getting regular exercise to make your heart strong, and staying hydrated so your blood can flow nice and smoothly.
And that's a wrap on the science behind these incredible circulation-boosting foods. So, I guess the only question left is, which one of these powerhouses are you going to add to your plate first? Thanks for tuning in.